Didn't think we'd be here, but here we are. This one's... it's gonna be a rough one. I didn't think we'd be here so soon. I suppose it was only a matter of time. Some big changes have been happening in life recently, and it's a change that I figured I would address. It's the end of an era that has been years in the making. I mean, I didn't think I'd be making a video like this, so soon after, making the 1000 sub special, but things have just been so chaotic lately. I figured it's time for change. Long story short, we're moving on. We're not going to be stuck in the same place anymore. We're moving on to bigger things. I didn't think I'd have to make a video like this, but it was most likely inevitable. But this place that we've been so accustomed to, I've kind of just been stuck in for a while. We're finally gonna make changes. I didn't want to leave things unsaid or unspoken, just have it disappear and not give any reason for it. My message to everyone here on the channel, we're moving on. From this house to a new house. What? Do you think it was something else? Weird metaphors and everything aside, in all seriousness, for the first time ever in my life, in my nearly 22 years on this earth, me and my family are going to be moving out of this house. Over the last couple months on the channel, you may have slowly started seeing stuff being removed from the background of my videos. Because, like some videos, I have a bunch of posters and shelves up in the background, to now suddenly it's just kind of blank walls, with the exception of my Metamorphosis tote bag. And also, I've just been saying in these videos that life has been very hectic lately, and that is because of this. I am experiencing moving for the first time. I mean, me, myself, moving. I've helped people move before, but this is the first time it's ever been for myself. I figured I would talk about that, since for you guys, you'll never really know it, aside from obviously some of my friends who have obviously visited this home before. But for my entire life, I have known this house as my home. But in the next coming days, I am now going to have to change that sentiment to a new home. It is kind of like mourning in a way. It's really, I like to think I'm not too much of a sentimental person when it comes to physical possessions. I mean, it's different for something like this, because again, I've only ever known this place as my home. And even before I was ever born, my parents and then my brother before me, it's they lived in this house for a couple decades before even I was born. We've been, making trips these last couple weeks to go to our new home, which, I mean, again, I'm not gonna talk about where we live or anything, but we're not moving crazily farther away. If anything, we've moved closer to other family. I am farther away to some of my friends, but we'll make do. It's been a lot of stress and crazy stuff that's been happening, just with moving and trying to figure stuff out. And now that we finally know where we're going, we've begun moving a lot of our stuff in. It's gonna be a relief, because I don't really know what the point of this video is. It's I am gonna talk a little bit, just get a little emotional, but when you break it down, a home, it's not about the house itself. It's the people who reside in it. That's the true home. Unless you live alone, in which you are the home. But though this will not be the last video for a little bit that you see me in this house, just because I have a couple other videos that were recorded a while ago that are still coming out, of course, my Freyren reactions and everything, just because, I've had to bulk record a lot, because a lot of time has been spent moving. That Freyren reaction is sort of a blessing in disguise in its own way, just because I couldn't imagine trying to record other videos during this whole time and editing them. It would have been nuts. But just when it comes to this room specifically, I haven't even spent my entire life in this room. Again, the room just across from this one was my room pretty much from when I was a really young kid to when my brother moved out, and then I moved into this room, which was coming up on 10 years ago. So I haven't even spent the majority of my life in this one room. But at the same time, the biggest changes in my life have happened while I've eaten, slept, and cried in this one room. And even so, with YouTube and everything, it's it all started 4 years ago in this room, and now I'm gonna carry on to other places. But also just the new house, it's going to be a new spurn of creativity, just because just looking at the space that we have, my space specifically, and just the stuff I have at my disposal, I don't think it's going to be as simple as just moving from one room to another. It's going to be an upgrade I didn't know I needed. Again, mainly for the content, because if I wasn't doing YouTube, I wouldn't care. It's just give me a square and like that's where I'll sleep and play games or whatever. Now I have to factor in like my setup more for this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting like setting all that stuff up, but either way, I don't want this video to drag on super long. But I mean, again, this isn't gonna be like the last video of me in this room that you're gonna see. I'm gonna try to upload it on the day in which it's the last time I'm gonna be in this room, because again, as I'm recording this isn't even the last day. You know, we still got a couple more days before we have to be out of this house. I'm recording this today just because the next couple days we're gonna really be focusing on moving and doing stuff. So this is kind of like my last day, I guess, to record stuff. You will not know the struggle I went through just moving a bunch of shit out of this corner. I've never even like seen this corner of the room in years, because this is where my bed normally is. You will not know the shit I had to vacuum up and clean underneath that. God, I'm probably gonna develop asthma because of this fucking move. I mean, it's just motivation to like, you know, clean your shit. I'll try my best to do that in the future, do that more. Now, this may seem weird, but I haven't done it yet, but I know the gist of what I'm gonna do. I'm going to leave a note in this room. It's not going to be in an obvious place, but if someone finds it, pretty much I'm going to write something along the lines of, to the person who is living in this room, the home you are living in now has been a home that has a long history and legacy spanning over half a century of family and friends of ours living in this room, and you have now broken that cycle. What originally started as my uncle's parents' home, to then his and other friends of ours, and then eventually my parents moving in, and then eventually they all moved out, and then my parents had this home, and you know, my older brother was here, and then eventually me. This all is going to be like condensed down to a couple sentences. It's not just, I'm just kind of throwing my thoughts out, but pretty much I would conclude it with, this house and this room specifically has been home to some of the most creative minds and people, and has been an endless source of love and creativity, specifically for me, as 4 years ago I started my YouTube channel. Plug myself, you know, Lancer02. And though we may be moving on to a different home, the creativity that was sparked here will only shine ever brighter going into new places and new homes. But just know that the room you are in is what started it all, for me and many others. And I hope that it's creativity that can be passed on to, sincerely, Lancer. I wouldn't put Lancer, I'd put my actual name, but, and yeah. I mean, some people might think that that's weird. It's like, why would you believe that? I mean, I'm a weird kind of sentimental with stuff, you know? This idea of, you know, what you leave behind and what you went through to get to a certain point, you know? It means a lot to me. I don't know if I'm going to cry for this home when we leave for the last time, but I mean, I probably will. If my mom starts crying, then yeah, I'm probably going to. But I mean, it's really probably not going to sink in until this weekend when we finally are like in the home and we sleep for our first night. It still seems like it's so far away, but it's only a couple more days. I know a lot of people who have, you know, they've moved a lot over the course of their life. This is the first for me, and obviously not the last. And well, this home, it'll never be forgotten, but damn, will me and my family be happy once we're out of it. So to this home, and for all of you who've been subbed and watching for one last time in this room, thank you all for joining me on this. And I hope you'll continue to join me for many other videos of the sort, going into our future homes and the many other homes that I'm sure we'll be moving into soon. So thank you all for joining me on this. I'm Lancer. Thanks for watching.